Being here, it's November the 22nd, 2016, it's 7 p.m. the City Council meeting. First on the thing, we're going to an executive session pursuant to KRS 61.8101G, discussion between the public agency representative of business and entity to discuss it concerning a proposal if the open discussion would jeopardize the city society of the business. So everyone must leave.
I'm sorry. Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Second by there. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Now everybody be excused except for Kim Houston. Okay, let the record reflect that it is now 7:13. We are back in regular session and no action was taken. So, all right, now we're back in regular session.
If someone wants to make a motion to act on what we just did.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion. We authorize the mayor enter into a contract to sell 10 acres in the Wilson Industrial Park to Johan America for $148,000.
Second. We have first and second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. First item on the agenda is recognized groups or individuals. Anybody want to speak? Input from the public? No bids and contracts. HRB, DRB, planning and zoning recommendations. We got 6 of those. So, Ms. Barbie.
COA 16105, Rosemary Hurst, owner, Tom Durbin, applicant, proposed to install a fence at 104 East Broadway. Recommendation is approval to install the fence. COA 16106, Keith Schlosser, applicant, owner, proposes to paint the exterior of 228 North 3rd Street. Recommendation, approval of the proposed exterior paint color. COA 16107A, Steve King, applicant owner, proposes to install a fence at 201 East John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the fence with the condition the applicant will receive staff approval for the placement of the gates, the hardware of the gate, style of transition between the 2 different heights of the fence, and the color of the fence. COA 16107B, Steve King, applicant owner, proposes to remove a shed at 201 East John Fitch Avenue. Recommendation, approval to remove the shed. COA 16109, Glenn Crabtree, applicant owner, proposes to install a roof over an existing pergola and a stoop over the rear door at 202 East Flagey Avenue. Recommendation, approval to install the roof over the pergola and the stoop, with the condition the shingles would be wood and the slats under the pergola and the shingle design would be submitted to the preservation coordinator. COA 16111, Nick Kipper, applicant owner, proposes to extend the corner edging at 502 North 3rd Street. Recommendation, approval to extend the curbing around the side and the front of the house.
Any questions on that one? If you look at number 6, Mr. Kippers, Larry, you could probably elaborate on this yourself, is when we put the new sidewalk in there, we kind of dug down a little bit on that one, and he wants to extend it those rock wall to hold that bank back instead of he would have to reshape his whole yard, landscaping that drastically.
Well, Mayor, that being the case, I make a motion. We approve COA 16105, 106, 107A, 107B, 109, and 111 with the recommendations of the development review.
I'll second it.
In the section of historic review.
Historic review board. I'm sorry.
Second by Councilman Williams. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's adopted. Okay. Then we'll go to DRB 235, the Smith Brothers addition.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve DRB 235 Smith Brothers addition with the conditions that have been proposed, if approved, subject to the final review and approval of the DRB Chair, Mayor, and Planning Commission Director for compliance with items specified in the 11/9/2016 DRB minute.
Motion on the floor by Councilman Williams,
Second.
second by Councilman Lydian. Discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? Motion's adopted. Thank you, guys. Correspondence, donation request, Nelson County Grief Support and Suicide Survivors, sponsored by Councilman Buckman.
Just real quick, Janet Tung had a chance to finally come in with her 501c3 status. She's going through NAMI, I'm not sure what that stands for, NAMI, but they have recognized her Nelson County Grief Support and Suicide Survivors group under their umbrella.
I had a chance to meet part of that group that's down on Robin Drive that are, how can I say that is, that are challenged and has difficulties, and the group is very healing, I would say, and I think that it's a good support group. They support each other, and they really lean on each other a lot. And I spent a couple hours with them. It was interesting and very moving. So.
Which line item would you, if it's approved, which line item would you use for this?
Take it out of your contingency fund.
How
as
much
we had
we-
all the other ones.
How much, we've been going in that contingent fund quite often, how much, what's the balance we have in there, anybody know?
The commitment takes you to $4,500 at this time, a balance of $4,500.
Need a motion.
I think it's a good cause. I make a motion to approve the donation request for the Nelson County Grief and Suicide Survivor Support Group. Yield the floor to second.
Could you indicate the amount, Mr. Butler?
To the amount of $500.
This, the materials that are needed are.
Need a second.
We need a second, sir, before we do discussion.
I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Williams. Discussion. These materials are needed, are materials that these people have been paying for out of their own pockets, and some of those lived on fixed incomes, and they try to support themselves as much as they can. And like I said, it's going to be for materials that they will use just for this group. So.
Bill, since you're the sponsor, I presume you've also researched it and you understand what they're doing and you agree that.
I understand that they have support groups and bring in suicide parents and so forth, I suppose, and have group counseling.
The first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
501. Motion's adopted, all right? Thank you. Number 6, review of the minutes, special city council meeting. I guess you all have a chance to look at that. And I'll adopt a motion by unanimous consent.
I'd like to abstain here since I wasn't here.
Okay, very good. And approve the minutes by unanimous consent. There's no financial report. There is a first reading of ordinance B 2016 Luxco Distillery annexation. And
Mayor, I'll introduce that. I'd like to introduce the proposed ordinance 2016 Lexico Distillery annexation, ask for it to be read in full.
It's going to be a long. Ordinance number B, 2016 Luxco Distillery annexation. An ordinance annexing certain territory consisting of approximately 60, that's wrong. All right, 68.344 acres. And please make that correction in the ones that you all see on your ordinance. It's 68.344 acres located along the east side of Kentucky Highway 245 corridor, running from the existing boundary of Kentucky Highway 245 to and including property owned by LFL LLC, located at 3050 East John Rowan Boulevard and adjacent to the city limits. Whereas LFL LLC, a limited liability company organized and existing pursuant to the laws of the state of Delaware, being the owner of record of the hereinafter described territory, has requested that the city of Bardstown, Kentucky, annex the territory, and pursuant to KRS 81A.412, the owner has given written consent to such annexation. And whereas on August 23rd, 2016, the City Council expressed its desire and intent to annex the territory, which is contiguous to the boundaries of the City of Bardstown. And whereas the said owners of record of the subject territory to be annexed have consented in writing to the proposed annexation as shown by their consent dated August 25th, 2016, and therefore pursuant to KRS 81A.412, there is no requirement for a notification ordinance as required by KRS 81A.420 subsection 1, or notice requirements by KRS 81A.425, or a waiting period of 60 days as provided by KRS 81A.420 subsection 2 prior to enacting a final ordinance annexing the territory. And whereas pursuant to KRS 100.209 subsection 1, the city makes the election that after annexation, the territory shall remain subject to the same land use restrictions as applied to it prior to annexation until such restrictions are changed in accordance with KRS Chapter 100. Now therefore, pursuant to the authority in Chapter 81A of the Kentucky Revised Statutes and other applicable law, be it ordained by the City of Bardstown that, Section 1, the city finds that the hereinafter described unincorporated territory meets the requirements of KRS 81A.410 and is as follows. A, contiguous to the boundaries of the city. B, is urban in character and suitable for development for urban purposes without unreasonable delay. And C, is not included within the boundary of another incorporated city. Section 2, that the territory described in Exhibit A and shown on Exhibit B, each of which is attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference, shall be, and the same is hereby annexed to the City of Bardstown, Kentucky. Mr. Butler will continue with the actual meets and bounds.
And where I have calls, those are degrees, minutes, and seconds. Commencing at a set 1/2 inch rebar with cap stamp Wolf 3742, set rebar henceforth in the east right-of-way line of the Kentucky Highway 245 bypass, variable right-of-way, and having state plane coordinates of northing 2178090.30, easting 1733380.05 Kentucky South Zone, and corner to a tract of land conveyed to Home Team Holdings LLC of record in deed book 483 page 621 and plat cabinet 15 slide 41 in the office of the clerk of Nelson County, Kentucky, thence leaving the east right-of-way line of said bypass and running with the north line of said Home Team Holdings LLC south 441001 east 54.03 feet to the true point of beginning, said point being a corner of a new revised tract 1 conveyed to LFL LLC of record in deed book 517 page 001 in plat cabinet 17 slide 142 in the clerk's office aforesaid, thence with a new division line across said LFL LLC. The following calls: north 233326, east 2812 feet to a point, thence north 061122, east 167.64 feet to a point, thence north 233236, east 525.39 feet to a point, thence north 390807, east 146.31 feet to a point, thence north 264128, east 211.27 feet to a point, thence north 031610, east 159.7 feet to a point, a new corner to said LFL LLC, and in the south line of a tract of land conveyed to TEPCO Inc. of record deed book 245, page 161 in the clerk's office aforesaid, thence with the south line of TEPCO Inc., north 892303, east 931.38 feet to a found sycamore stump on the north bank of the creek, witnessed by a found 1/2 inch rebar with a cap stamp witness 2225, south 600750, east 50.11 feet to said stump, corner to TEPCO Inc. and James and Elizabeth Donahue Revocable Trust, Lot 60 of Tullamore Estates, Phase 2C, of record in deed book 472, page 534, and a plat cabinet 13, slide 53, and Robert S. and corner to Joanne Filiatru's lots 58 and 59 of Tullamore Estates, Phase 2A, of record in deed book 421, page 344, and plat cabinet 10, slide 5 in the clerk's office aforesaid. Thence was said lots 58 and 59 south, 1324.47 west, 196.35 feet to a found 5/8 inch rebar with cap stamped Hibbs 2981, corner to said lots 58 and 59. Thence adjoining David M. and Elizabeth N. Wheatley's revised lot 56 of Tullamore Estates, Phase 2C of record in deed book 440, page 534, and plat cabinet 11, slide 176, and at approximately 182 feet, and Tullamore LLC of record in deed book 414, page 599, and plat cabinet 15, slide 157, at approximately 482 feet south, 50/2540 east, 886.88 feet to a found 1/2 inch rebar cap stamped Hibbs 2981, corner to Tullamore LLC, and a tract of land conveyed to Home Team Holdings LLC of record in deed book 483, page 621, and plat cabinet 15, slide 41 in the clerk's office aforesaid, thence with the west line of Home Team Holdings LLC, south 225356 west, 1423.84 feet to a found 5/8 inch rebar with cap stamped Hibbs 2981, found rebar henceforth, corner to said Home Teams Holding LLC, thence with another division line across said LFL LLC, south 2929.55 west, 336.61 feet to a point, a new corner to said LFL LLC in the in the north line of a tract of land conveyed to Home Team Holdings LLC of record in deed book 483, page 621, and plat cabinet 15, slide 41 in the clerk's office aforesaid. Thence with the north line of Home Team Holdings LLC, north 714613 west, 166.95 feet to a found rebar. Thence north 714613 west, 166.95 feet to a found rebar. Thence north 661408 west, 333.75 feet to a found rebar. Thence north 430556 west, 248, 5.51 feet to a set rebar. Thence north 304858 west, 531.22 feet to a set rebar. Thence 4410 north, 441001 west, 544.25 feet to the point of beginning, having an area of 68.344 acres or 2977056.5 square feet.
We're not done yet.
Can you take a break?
Now, Section 3. The owners of record of the territory have filed with the city written consent to this annexation under KRS 81A.412, and therefore the following do not apply to this annexation. A, the notification ordinance required by KRS 81A.420 subsection 1, the notice requirement of KRS 81A.425, and the waiting period of KRS 81A.420 subsection 2. Section 4, pursuant to KRS 100.209 subsection 1, the territory shall, after annexation, remain subject to the same land use restrictions as applied to it prior to annexation until those restrictions are changed in accordance with KRS Chapter 100, Section 5, this ordinance shall become effective on the date of its passage and publication as required by law. All prior ordinances or parts of any ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed.
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve B 2016 Luxco annexation.
Second.
On first read.
On the first read? Okay.
You don't have to, but if you want to, you're
I'm
fine.
sorry. We don't have to. We don't have to.
No.
You don't,
I'm
So
sorry.
you want to withdraw
I'll
your
withdraw.
motion?
Yeah, that's fine.
And
Yes.
withdraw your second?
Ms. Copeland has to withdraw hers, right?
She did.
Yes,
Okay.
you did.
All right, thank you. You want to make them, we're not going to have to do anything.
Right,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not just
All
yet.
right, very good.
I'm just trying to move things along.
Second reading of B 2016-15, the classification and compensation plan
Now
of
we
the
got a
fire
real
department.
one.
And I think what that is under this grant is they have to have actual position for recruiting, retention.
Right, this
Again,
is
that-
second reading.
Just kind of refresher.
So, summary of ordinance B 2016-15. This ordinance amends ordinance B 2016-10 and chapter 35 employment policies, the classification plan and compensation plan of the municipal code by amending the number of authorized positions, their title and pay grade for the city's fire department employees for fiscal year 2016-17 and subsequent years. The amendments and additions reflecting number of positions, title, and pay grade respectively are: under fire, strike 11, insert 10, firefighter EMT at 107, insert 1, recruitment/retention coordinator at 107. This ordinance or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith are repealed to the extent of such conflict. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect following publication and summary as required by law. The summary was certified by Timothy Butler, City Attorney.
May I, Ken?
Yes, you can.
I make a motion, we approve ordinance number B 2016-15.
I need a second. Second by Councilman Buckman. And we'll have a discussion.
Yeah, this question, this person still is a firefighter?
Yes. This person will be a firefighter, but like I said, it's going to be a paid position that we as the city taxpayers do not have to pay for 4 years. And because it's paid for by that $600,000 plus grant that we've received. But yes, it will be, and I think that position is actually, is that correct? Is Joe Marks' old position?
Yeah, so that
Yes.
the city doesn't have to pay for the position for 4 years, and that position is the 17th of our 17 authorized. So after 4 years, that person won't have to leave. They can they'll just turn into a regular firefighter EMT.
So after 4 years, we will have a stipulation in the budget for that?
No, we won't have to increase the budget. Right now, we're budgeted for 17 positions. We have 16.
Right.
This will be the 17th, but we won't have to put it into the budget for, it'll, for 4 years. It'll be in the budget, but we'll also have some offset coming in.
Okay. I'll do an individual vote. Is that end of discussion? Okay. I'll do an individual. Ms. Copeland?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion's adopted, thank you. Reports from staff and committees, we've got the cemetery staff committee, the special meeting. Bobby, you wanna talk about that?
Either day suits me. What about Fred? What do y'all think? 7th or 14th?
Either's,
That's a Wednesday.
either's fine, yeah.
Well, we'll set it for the 7th, and if that suits you,
What about you,
Brandon.
Mr. Liddy?
Be okay.
Seventh, okay? All right, then I'll send out the agenda. We'll be specific about the agenda since it'll be a special meeting, and I'll make sure I'll send out the information. Okay.
Let's go to the unfinished business. We have the M 2016-16, a social media policy for the city of Bardstown. We discussed this, or looked at this about 3 or 4 times. If you've looked on your iPad, that is, I think that's the one that the Kentucky League of Cities has adopted. And
It's a compilation of a lot of things, but it's the one that was presented to the department heads as well, under Larry's suggestion, Larry Hamilton's suggestion, with their input. So it's now ready again for this council's review.
I understand that they have something else out called Marco Polo or something. Would that also fall under this category?
Is that like a social media site?
That's a thing. I don't know if social media, but it's,
Is it the game that they're playing?
no, it's, somebody asked me if I had Marco Polo because they wanted to talk to me over the phone and I don't have that. So I'm just curious. So that probably doesn't fit into that category.
But
Okay.
well, you know, I think what this is gonna encompass is it says examples of social media is included, but I think anything, and Tim, you may wanna elaborate on this, but I think it would include any social media blogs like Marco Polo. I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
If anything new comes up, I think this would cover it. I don't think it has to be be named individually on this policy. I think it's any social media. Would you take it that way?
I think it's fairly broadly defined, so yes.
So,
Should we put an et cetera there?
Well, it says examples of social media included.
examples, so
Okay.
I think if anything of social media, it would encompass that.
Okay.
And I think Tim just agreed with
Yeah, it changes, we know it changes weekly, so. There's a new billionaire created every week.
Any thoughts?
Well, my thought is, normally unfinished business, we don't discuss or vote on. And quite honestly, I don't even study it because we don't typically cover unfinished business
Well, we had,
during our meetings, so I'm not ready to vote on it myself.
Okay.
I mean,
We have,
maybe
I think we brought it up several times in different.
Yeah, but Mayor,
discussions.
and under the heading unfinished business is normally stuff that's something we're going to work on later. We don't cover it in the.
That's fine, it's your choice.
would you like for me to take it back up into new
Yes.
business?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll do that for the 13th.
All right.
Okay, let's go to new business, 2016-20, the job description for the recreation department.
Just real quick. Just easier that way. Okay. A municipal order amending the job descriptions for the Recreation Department originally established in Municipal Order M 2015-16. Whereas the Bardstown Nelson County Recreation Advisory Board is no longer in existence, and whereas the job descriptions for the employees of the Bardstown Recreation Department include references to the Bardstown Nelson County Recreation Advisory Board, and whereas job descriptions should accurately reflect the work done by employees. Now therefore be it ordered by the City Council of Bardstown, Kentucky, that the job descriptions attached hereto for the Recreation Department will be adopted in full to represent the true and accurate definition for the positions available as an employee of the City of Bardstown.
Okay, we're in stalemate.
As I remember, anything reflecting our joint venture with the county is what's basically stricken from here.
So that's why we left the strike-throughs in the content,
Okay.
so that you could see what was being changed.
All right, I'll make I'll make a motion that we approve municipal order M 2016-20, and I'll yield the floor for a second.
A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's adopted. Okay. We have number 12, the city council members' comments. Ms. Copeland wanted to strike number 2, training hours,
And number 1,
You want to strike them both? Okay.
for a working session.
Okay.
For
So-
working session?
Yes, please.
Okay. We talked about the 13th, so did you want the 13th or the working session?
When is the next, when is the working session?
On the 6th?
Yes, let's do it for the 6th.
Okay.
The chief is here tonight. I'll go ahead and I'll call on you, let you address some of these things here, and we'll give you a chance to speak and kind of tell what's going on.
Thank you for having me here tonight. We're making drastic changes, I should say drastic changes to the way we do business as far as training is concerned. We're implementing a training request for any training outside the norm. That training request will also be subtracted from the budget, so we'll have a running account on the budget for training and for overtime. We're also enacting a detached service agreement for training, where we would take the officer, look at his schedule, look when the training is being held, detach him from normal schedules and put him in a training schedule, and also include the travel time to and from the training. So we won't have any overage on overtime for travel. That will go into effect the 1st of December. We've got the documents already. I just wanted to wait until the 1st of December to bring everything into place on that. I can, if necessary right now, I can address the overtime in the past, or would you like to talk about it at a later date?
Yes,
At a later date? Okay. We're also we're in review now for a revamp of our policy manual, not the procedure manual as such, but the policy manual. We've taken the national policy manual, or the one that's been adopted nationally, and we're adopting that to the city of Bardstown. Of course, it's 151 pages long when we first get it. There's a lot that'll be taken out because of the size of the city and the size of the department. But this, once we enact it, this will help us with the accreditation that we are moving forward for the state of Kentucky to accredit the police department. And it's the first of many moves that's going to take us a good 6 months to a year to adopt and put into place. As soon as we're done with the policy manual, we'll come up with procedures to follow the policy manual. We've hired 2 new officers that should be, hopefully, should go into the academy in January. They will not be out on the street until the end of September, October. It's a 6-month academy, plus they have 4 months that they're going to have to go on field training. So we're going to be down, we'll probably be at 27, but we're going to have the 2 officers in training. And please bear with us on that, manpower-wise. Other than that, yes, sir.
Contract, you want to talk about the contract that they will sign?
Yes, thank you. It's just been approved by Mr. Butler. We've devised a contract for the new hires, whether they be lateral or new hire, that will put them in place for a minimum of 2 years. We'll come up with an amount that it costs for us to train them, outfit them. For a new hire, it'd be in around $40,000. For a lateral hire, about $10,000. And they'll be binding it by that contract for 2 years. Should they leave, as many officers do once they get trained, should they leave within that 2 years, we'll take an adjusted amount that they're going to owe the city back for the training and the uniforms, the outfitting. That goes into place with these 2 officers. Do you have any questions of me?
Okay, you said they're new hires, so that means that they have not previously been?
No, sir, they are brand spanking new. Yes, sir.
Okay, are either of them female?
No, sir. We had no female applicants in this last group that we've tested.
Okay, are either of them minority?
No, sir.
Okay.
One of them is from Bardstown, though.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't know for sure you had time or not to review the evidence room policy.
No, I did sit down today with the evidence technician. It's in place, but we are sorely out of space. And we're going to have to figure out something. He's working on the warehouse that we have where he'll be able to move some of it, but it's crowded. It's extremely crowded in there, and I have not had the time to go through the policy for the evidence room yet.
And my other question is, warehouse, I know it's a secret location, item that is too big to put in the room out there, so you put it in that warehouse, right?
Yes, sir.
On a lock and key
Yes, sir, and alarmed.
and lock?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we've moved out some of the vehicles that have been forfeited
Right.
out of that room, and we're going to be selling those vehicles. Gave us a lot of room to move it into, but still, it's out of, it's off-site.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I don't think you were involved in the hiring. I think it was under Captain McKenzie and Lieutenant, but the hiring was advertised, and it was, everybody took a test. They took like a POPs test, and out of that, that's how we got
We
best
had
qualified.
15 candidates that passed the hiring process, and the process follows the Kentucky League of Cities guidelines. So we had 15 candidates come on. The top 30% were interviewed by command staff, and the top 3 I interviewed.
When will we know the names of the candidates or the hires, new hires?
Well, I could give them to you tonight, but I didn't bring them.
It's okay.
I apologize.
Well, but you made the job offer. I would much
verbal
rather
job.
wait until that.
They have to go. They have to go probably next week up to Richmond and do the POPs test for the state, and then at that time they'll do the polygraph and the psych. So it's a verbal offer contingent on passing the next stage 3.
And then once that happens, you will send me a personnel request or
Yes, sir.
an action form, and then I'll sign that, and then we can make it public.
Yes.
Because then it'll be official hire. Correct?
Yes, sir. It will be official at that time. No further questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. B, Councilman Hagan, you're up.
All right, thanks. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion. If we get a second, then we can have some discussion on this. I make a motion that per the authority provided in KRS 83A.130.13, the city council take the necessary steps to retain services of an outside investigator to investigate all activities of city government and its employees as relates to the compilation and distribution of the packets of information distributed prior to the November 1st, 2016 Bardstown City Council working session. Specifically, the investigation should focus on whether city employees, their time, and/or city resources were used to compile the reference information and materials in an effort to influence the election, those actions perhaps in violation of the locally adopted ethics ordinance and/or state or other relative laws or policies. And also move as part of that we would allow or authorize Tim Butler to hire the necessary outside investigator to do that. We obviously can't investigate ourselves, so I think we need to go outside to do that. So that is my motion. I'll move back forward for a second.
I'll second it.
Motion by Fred, a second by Councilman Lydia. Discussion?
I'll just say that my discussion pretty much reflects the motion that I think it's something we need to look into. We need to get to the bottom of what happened, especially if it's trying to influence the election. I think is something that we need to find out what happened. That's my personal opinion. That's the motion.
And I'm in total agreement with you, Fred.
I got a few questions. Who are we investigating? Are we gonna target somebody specifically?
We haven't got to the question yet, if I'm correct.
Wait a minute,
No, no,
I asked a question.
We are in discussion.
We're in discussion. Who are we investigating? Are we targeting someone?
No.
Okay. Well, the cost of the investigation gonna be pretty substantial, I'm sure. Where's that money gonna be derived from for taxpayers' money?
Well, the initial cost, I would suggest, comes out of our contingency fund,
Okay.
of which there's $4,000 left now.
And what conclusion are we looking for?
You want me to read it again?
No, okay. Okay.
Since we are,
Well, it was personally, it was open record stuff that you could get. I mean, why are we gonna spend taxpayers' money on this? I mean, is this for a personal reason that Ms. Copeland's feelings got hurt over something? Are we gonna spend taxpayers' money for that?
Well, let's not make it personal.
It is personal.
Well,
Well,
let's-
I'll answer the question.
Okay.
I'll repeat.
I just want these questions answered. We're gonna spend taxpayers' money and amend the budget.
I'll repeat my motion, is that I want to know if city council, city employees were involved in trying to influence the election using city resources, because that's against the law.
And that's what we do.
let me make a comment since we are for discussion. I agree with Councilman Hagan 100%. We should investigate all aspects of a record request by a city employee, city resources used for the package info that was in the package, council members' iPads, personal contents was reviewed and commented on to the public. When city IP personnel called in city council member iPad to update and security purpose only, they did not have to open up the inbox or the outbox. So I agree with Fred 100%. It should be investigated regardless of what it costs. This is very important.
My motion has nothing to do with the iPads.
Fred, can I make sure that you want also?
Are you finished, Councilman Lydia?
Yes, just what I said.
All right, I've got the rest of it, so we have that part.
Call for the question.
Open vote, sir.
Okay, is the discussion over? Okay. All right,
I would have individuals.
Have we got a limit on this expenditure, or is it just an open pocket for somebody?
The motion doesn't mention that.
Well, I'm kind of like, know how much money, taxpayer money we're gonna spend for this adventure.
I would imagine that as the investigation takes place, we would be receiving some updates on the cost. It's not gonna all come at once. But we can make the decision as it goes along if we wanted to stop.
And I agree with you 100%. We need to move forward on this.
As a point of clarification, I think, Councilman Hagan, you involved me there at the end. You're authorizing me to hire or to seek hiring
Yes,
someone?
I mean, someone has to do that.
Right.
And we can't investigate ourselves, so who's the best, in my opinion, who's the best person to seek that outside counsel? Our attorney.
Okay, well, thank you, kinda.
Although I didn't clear that with you ahead of time.
That's fine.
Let me ask you a question.
wait a minute, Mr. Butler had the floor.
Okay.
He wasn't finished.
What I would do, just so that you are aware, is I would try to establish parameters, a process to move forward with that and clear that with you all, is what I would do. I would come back and say, here's what I would propose to do.
Right.
And part of what I would do, probably, thinking right now on the spot, would be that I would ask the League of Cities for recommendations, and then talk to someone and ask them to make a proposal. Tell them the circumstances, ask them to make a proposal, and bring that back to you all, so that you all would then know in terms of cost.
Sounds good.
And that way, that's the way you proceed in most of these circumstances.
All right.
Let me ask you a question, Attorney Butler.
Yes, sir.
Would you accept a recommendation from a council member, outside person, for the investigation? Would you accept a recommendation from one of us council members to you?
I would listen to it, sure, but my inclination right now would be to go outside of the community.
I know.
Yeah. That's why I would go to League of Cities and ask them about.
That's fine.
Call for the
Yeah. Everyone finished with the discussion? Okay. I want an individual vote. And I'll start with Ms. Copeland.
Aye.
Okay?
60.
6-0. Thank you, and I look forward to it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a very good idea. All right, let's move forward. Cemetery deeds. You have A. Oh, I'm
I'm done with
sorry.
city council comments.
Yeah, they're still in there.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I agree with Councilman Lydian that we need to investigate all city aspects, starting with the misuse of the iPads. I'm requesting, Mayor, that officer of the Ethics Board, I'm requesting that you present the use of the iPads in violation of Code 4313 for consideration illegal use of the iPads.
And I think actually, I don't think that's an action that the council would take. Actually, I think that there's a procedure through the ethics, you're talking about the ethics ordinance?
Yeah, I'm requesting that you present them.
Well, that would be, anyone can make an ethics complaint, individual and I don't think the council would have to make.
It has to be done by an officer of the ethnic committee, which is the mayor, and I'm requesting that he do so.
I don't believe that's, I think it can be just a complaint made to the ethics board. Bring her in here.
I have a comment. If Councilman Bugman gonna recommend that, I'm gonna recommend a issue also
4313.
to the ethics
Hold
board.
on, hold on, please.
4313, street property equipment personnel, there's a violation. And over here can be the representation of the
Try to get that here under enforcement.
be presented by an officer of the committee.
Is that officer of the committee, would that be
The mayor, county judge.
you as council?
Receive investigative complaints.
Come on back.
Filing an investigation of complaints. All complaints alleging violations of provisions of sort shall be submitted to the Board of Ethics or to the administrative official designated Board of At a time looking at, all complaints shall be in writing, signed by the complainant. Other requirements established by the Board of Ethics. I think a complaint can be filed by anybody.
It's just an emotion.
And if it's not, it should be. I mean, if there's an ethics issue, that any individual should be able to raise an ethics issue. It shouldn't have to run through you all to.
It specifies in the mayor, county judge, and so forth.
Okay, we'll look into that. So that,
Well, see, we're not up to through with this yet. I got a question for the city attorney.
Yes, sir.
I have a complaint also. What would be my steps relating to iPads? When the city council member iPads were called in to update for security purpose only, elected officer reviewed city council members' iPad and made comments to the public, personal content. What would be my steps to file a complaint with the ethics board?
Well, the ethics ordinance provides, the ethics board establishes its own procedure for filing a complaint. So you'd want to talk to Ms. Bradford, is the chairman. In terms of the iPads, as I've stated on numerous occasions now, iPad city equipment, there's no expectation of privacy, in my opinion, in terms of an iPad for, again, you can't make a open records request for private information on the iPad, but you can't, the iPad is open, it's just like any other city computer. It's open for inspection by the city because it's their iPad. So now, public comment on that, I'm not sure if what I would suggest that you do is you review the code of ethics and that if you find a place where you feel like whatever action has violated this particular section of the Code of Ethics, that you cite that in a complaint in whatever form that the chairman of the Ethics Board says needs to be in.
Excuse me, in the Kentucky Legal City legal official handbook, you have a KRS, you have city business, and you have personal business, and you have a KRS related to personal contents that is protected. If you got the Kentucky Legal City handbook,
I've not read that, but I would
Right.
just.
I mean, it's in there.
That any, we absolutely will not protect private content on city property, on city, computers, because that would open Pandora's box for people that are doing illegal things on city computers and city electronics, and we can't, there's no shield for that I'm aware of. If you got a page, and I'll be glad to review that and
Well,
get back with you.
I think my privacy has been violated. Each one council member, privacy has been violated.
Well, my interest would be going forward that you all understand, and I think we've taken some steps recently so that you understand that if you're using these iPads for private information, that is subject to review by the city, because it's the city. And I would suggest, again, as I stated in a meeting many months ago, you should draw a line between your private and your public, because it is, a lot of it will, if you cross the line between what is city business on a private social media site or whatever, then that is discoverable, or that is releasable under open records law, according to what we've been told.
Excuse me, let me ask you another question. Who is authorized to review this iPad in the city?
There's no policy in place as relates to that.
So anyone can review it?
As I said the other day to someone, that it is somewhere between the IT person by himself and opening up in the mayor's conference room and saying, everybody that wants to come on in and look. It's somewhere in between there, would be my suggestion. But it has to be, it is reviewable by someone. To be honest with you, I wish it was never an issue.
I know.
I wish it was never an issue. I wish that there had been a separation between private and public, as I had asked. I wish that even if there were private stuff on there, I wish it wouldn't have been something that was bandied about, because we got more important stuff to do.
Sure, I agree with you 100%, but council members didn't bring this issue up. It was a city administration did. Council members are guilty. I mean, we are innocent. Okay.
What I've done to protect some of the present council, and if you run again and you get back on, and the council that's coming in, is if you notice the email that I sent to the incumbents and present council members, that from January 2nd, once the new council takes place, the new year, everybody will have a BardstownCable.net. Your cell phone, any of your computers and all that will not be linked, synced, or paired with anything else, except this is just for city business. And I did that, started the new council to protect the council from the misuse of the iPads. So, and to this date, I think everybody has their own Bardstown councilman, such and such has their own BardstownCable.net email address. So And there will not be, again, there will not be cell phones, computers, anything else synced with this iPad whatsoever. And then that will do that. We're in a new age here, folks. You know, we're in a new age. It's a social media technology. If we'd have stuck with paper and pencil here, we could have not been involved in none of this. It's all new. It's new technology. It's new to us, and we're having to learn from all this. And it's rough learning. So anyway, so starting January 2nd, you'll have that, and I don't think we'll have a problem with personal use of these anymore.
Mayor, as it relates to the emails that are, addresses that are forthcoming, I might suggest that the username be the name that was on the ballot.
I've already got them set up as
Oh, okay.
Councilman Roland Williams, I think, or
Just Councilman Williams.
Councilman Williams, Councilman Heaton, Councilman Kelly,
Okay.
Councilman Copeland. You know, so that's the setup. It's simple. IT chose the simplest way to where it doesn't get confusing.
Okay.
I have a question for the city attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
In reference to the investigation, when you call to the Kentucky League of Cities and you get some names or what have you, or council members refer you some names, you will come back to us for the approval. Okay, and we can discuss that about who we would want to choose, right?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Any further discussion? Very good. Let's move on. Cemetery deeds. Shelley and David Gordon, 5 grave sites. Sharon Connor, 2 grave sites. Robert Banks, 1 grave site. Don and Dixie Ramzier, okay, 2 grave sites. Randall and Nancy Riley, a transfer. And I'll adopt by unanimous consent on the cemetery deeds. Without objection, thank you. And I accept a motion to adjourn.
Well, can I ask one question? Since a discussion has been, or a request has been made for the December 6th working session, everyone got a request from me asking if you could attend a public hearing and special council meeting for the 6th, and I've only heard from one of you.
You put my name down.
So we're going to have the working session at 5 o'clock. Is that what I understand? And then we can have the special council meeting starting at 6 o'clock on the 6th. Is that in agreement?
The only thing on the special session is the,
It's a public hearing.
HRP appeal.
there is an appeal.
Right.
For Nukem Oil.
But because it's a special council meeting, you can also have other items on the agenda if they are,
Yeah, you get them.
if you get them to me.
Because we're talking about, the hearing would probably last hour and a half. And just so that you all are aware, I wanted to tell you all up front that, and make this disclosure, I'm gonna act as hearing officer, okay? Hearing officer, you know, just make sure things are orderly. But just to disclose, in the past, it's been at least 10 years, but in the past, I had done work for Nukem Oil. I haven't done anything recently with Nukem Oil. Also, my youngest son is an employee of Nukem Oil, not in Nelson County, in Bullitt County. If you all have an issue with that, I can not be hearing officer. But just so that you all are aware of that, I just wanted to disclose that.
I don't have an issue with it. Does anyone else?
I don't have an issue.
Bobby, issue with that? Bill?
No.
Ms. Copeland?
No.
Francis? No? Okay, very good.
Let me ask a question. Will we be, I know there'll be, there's a hearing, we're gonna hear, but we can run them prior to the meeting, that's correct? We're not gonna receive any information prior to the meeting, something that may be presented in the meeting, it's all gonna be presented in the meeting?
Well, there
That's a
may
question.
be a record on the iPad that would be the record they're appealing.
Yeah.
But they will be reconstituting, that will be part of a record that you all will be doing because it's a public hearing. But there might be information that would come on the iPad, yes.
We've done it in the past. When
Prior to the
exhibits,
meeting?
yes,
Okay.
when
Yeah,
exhibits.
it's everything that from the prior meeting, so it's,
Well, yeah, I know, we've already seen that, but
Yes.
would there be anything new?
that shouldn't be,
Prior
no.
to, okay.
Shouldn't be, no.
And I encourage each and every one of you, if you have any questions,
That's at 6, but the working session is going to be at 5.
and I encourage each and every one of you, if you have any questions, call me, come to the office. My door's open, we'll talk about it.
Oh, I don't think so.
No, I'm talking about, no.
Not about the public hearing.
No, we're not.
Not about the public hearing, no,
Just
I'm
anything
talking
else.
about anything else. I'm sorry, I need to make that
Thank you.
clarification. Yes,
I understand.
okay. All right, well, by unanimous consent, I'll adjourn this council. Thank
All
you.
right.